to the podcast. My name is Emma and I am a natural dyer coming to you from the north coast of Northern Ireland. This is actually the third time I've tried to record this podcast episode. I've just tried to record it and then when I looked at my phone, the recording wasn't there. So yeah, third time lucky. First of all, I would love to say a big welcome to all the new subscribers who found me through the last episode. I don't know what was going on with the algorithm, but like the last video did really well. Loads of people found me, which made me so happy. So yeah, you're really welcome. I hope you really enjoyed the podcast episodes and back by the fire again because you all said it was a really good spot. So yeah, so the last time I was on here my website was down. I now have my new website up, which is great, so you can visit that if you want. I'll put the link below. And my shop update is going to be next week on the 24th of February, 8 p.m. GMT, so you might be able to get some yarn there. So yeah, so I think it's just worth quickly saying that you might have noticed on Instagram, I'm kind of doing like an Instagram minimalism experiment for my business at the moment. So I'm only going on twice a week. So if you want to stay in touch with what I'm doing and don't want to rely on Instagram, you're in the right place. First of all, I will be on YouTube still. And also I have a newsletter option that you can find on my website. And I will also be writing in my journal on my website. So I have a post that I put up there this week about what I'm doing on my digital minimalism experiment. So you can check that out if you're interested. So first of all, I think we'll talk about my Radari, which I finished. I think in the last episode I was maybe up to here. I was about to start the Colourwork. That was 3 weeks ago. So I have now finished the Radari. So this is what it's like. I'm really pleased with how it turned out. This is my third one I've knitted. The first one I was wearing in the last episode, which has a patch on the elbow now and it needs a patch on the other elbow. The second one was pretty much the same as this, but I gave it to my granny. So I'll try and put in a video here somewhere of that in case you're interested. So yeah, this is the third one I've knitted. I didn't intentionally make any modifications. Come on, Fire. However, I cast on for a small on the body. It's bottom up, which is my preferred method. I just feel like you can kind of control it more easily. So I knit a small in the arms, I knitted a small in the body, and then when I got to joining them, I realised that I had the wrong number of stitches and that I was closer to the extra small. So what I did was I just knitted the yoke in the extra small and it fits really nicely. It's a really nice neat fit on the yoke and there's no short rows in this jumper. So you can wear it, doesn't matter what way around you wear it. Come on, Fire. Go. I'll put the colour of this rust colour down below because I know people will ask what colour it is. I always like to knit my jumper arms a bit on the short side. I have short arms anyway, but I really don't like long sleeves because when you knit or you do anything practical, the sleeves just like get in the way. So I like to always knit them a little bit short. So I knitted this in Lopi yarn, which I'm such a big fan of. I really enjoy working with that yarn. It's actually a single ply yarn that is very light and airy. It works out around a DK weight, which is perfect for sweaters, and it's really affordable as well. Say hello to your friends. Good boy, come on. Say hello. Hello, who's a good boy? Is it Rufus? Rufus is a Bedlington Whippet. Everyone thinks he's like a wolfhound or a deerhound, but he's not. He's a good boy. So yes, this yarn, I was talking to my granny about her Radari that I knitted her, and she actually said she thought the yarn was soft. Loads of people would probably not say that. If you ask me, it's really difficult for me to answer that question because soft is not generally on my list of important things when choosing a yarn. What's important to me is warmth. If it creates a nice fabric, and if the texture of the yarn kind of speaks to me, that's also important. Yeah, so that is my synopsis of Lopi yarn. So I'm probably not the best person to ask if you want to know if it's soft, because your idea of soft and my idea of soft might be different. So yeah, so this is my first finished object. My next is the socks by, well, there is no pattern, I made up the pattern. It's a 3x1 rib. These aren't blocked yet. The yarn is Cuthbert sock by Whistlebare, which is their own mohair and Wednesday deal. And then they shear them and produce yarn from it, and they are in Northumbria, I believe. So I haven't worn them yet. I've tried them on a few times. They're really, really cozy on the toes. They say that mohair is a good reinforcer, so I'll be interested to see how they wear. As many of you know, because my natural sock is my own yarn that I produce. That is I know nylon non-superwash sock yarn. I'm always interested to know how these things wear. So maybe in the future I'll do a little no nylon sock journey vlog episode type thing to kind of compare them to maybe a commercial sock yarn and maybe also like a merino nylon sock yarn, just to see like what the difference is, especially with felting, with how they feel on the feet, that sort of thing. So if that interests you, I will definitely consider that for later on this year. I did a Dutch heel. I took the pattern for that and slightly modified it, but I took the pattern pretty much off the Rita socks. It's a pattern by Daniella of Little Bobbins, and I'll show you it next. There's the fire going now. So yeah, pretty pleased with these. I've been trying to build up my sock collection for some time now. I'm a very slow sock knitter. I think I knitted these on 2.25mm needles because I think it's 300 meters, so it's kind of sport weight. I didn't do a gauge swatch, which is not smart, but yeah, and gauge with socks is kind of critical. So yeah, I was talking to a friend a while ago, I think maybe I said this in the last episode, that if you're using like a typical 400 meters per 100 grams yarn for socks, it needs to be knitted at a gauge of 35 stitches per 10 centimeters or more if you can, to create a really dense fabric for good wear. So yeah, let you know how I get on with these, and I'll maybe do a gauge swatch now that I'm finished to see what the gauge was. So yeah, really pleased with these. The sock blockers are by P4 Chen. Patricia. She makes them from I think birch from her own farm. So yep, really pleased with how these turned out, and I'm so glad to finally get them finished. I'm such a slow sock knitter. These have been on the needle since way before Christmas, like maybe like October or something. So that is my finished objects for that. I think the colourway is duck egg. Next finished object are these mittens, which I was testing for LB Handknits, and they are called Backlog. Don't know if I'm saying that right. Backlog mittens. The pattern called for, I think it was worsted weight or Aran weight. I chose one of my limited edition yarns to test out this pattern. This is a yarn that will be coming out in March, and it is my Spotted Dutch yarn, which was spun down in County Cavan by Jess of Olan. She kind of has like a micro spinning mill there. It turned out quite thick, the yarn, so it was 130 meters per 100 grams, so I actually had to size down my needles a size for this to knit these mittens. And the really cool thing about these is it has a thumb gusset, so it's really good if you're like carrying the shopping or like on the bicycle or whatever. It just makes it more practical to pick stuff up and like grip stuff between your thumbs, which I think is such an ingenious idea. Very fast knit, and they will do me perfectly well while I'm knitting my more complicated Songbird mittens by Erika Heusser. So yeah, really pleased with these. I think the yarn has a lovely texture. It's almost hand spun. It's actually supposed to be semi-worsted spun, but it definitely feels more, I don't know, more airy than that. I would describe it almost like working with hand spun. So I think the pattern for these is pretty much released. If I was knitting them again, I might only go up half a size for the main part of the mitten instead of a full needle size, I think, that I went up. But yeah, really pleased with how these turned out. Love the natural colour of this yarn. It's, I think I forgot to say, it's Spotted Dutch. Again, the fibre sourced from Northern Ireland. Yeah, so the whole process of this yarn is the fibres from Northern Ireland. The yarn is spun in County Cavan in the Republic of Ireland, and yeah, pretty cool. So this is my final finished object. That is a lot of finished objects for me. I normally maybe have one if I'm lucky, or just a lot of works in progress. So let's talk about works in progress. Some of you who have been around for a little while, a little while being years, that I have been working on the shawl design. This is my first design. This is the second iteration that I have knitted of the shawl. The first one I knitted and gave away 2 years ago, I think. I gave it away to my granny. This one, the second iteration, I knitted it in my BFL Gotland 4-ply. And as you can see, there's a little bit of a problem here because I didn't continue to increase from the spine section, so there's like a weird lumpy bit, which I figured out what I was doing wrong after chatting to my friend Marina, who also has a podcast, Marina Skew. She's an absolute genius, by the way. Hi Marina, I hope you heard that. So yeah, I have started the third version of this, and hopefully it's the final version. Third time lucky and all that. So the first time I didn't even write down the pattern, I don't think. The second time I wrote down the pattern but my numbers were out. So this time I'm going through, making sure everything is correct, and hopefully we will have a shawl pattern by the end of the year. It is housed in my little Daughter of a Shepherd and Woollenflower woolly bag, which I love. Got it at Edinburgh Yarn Festival one year. And this is the third version of it. So again, using my BFL Gotland. I have just finished the first bit of the shawl, like before the lace section. Knitting it on 4.5mm Chai Goose. Got a cute little mince pie stitch marker by Chapel View Crafts. But yeah, so third time, it's going really well. I'm writing everything down and being much more precise. However, when I finished the increases, I realised I had one extra stitch on one side and I cannot figure out for the life of me where it came from because I can't see any mistakes. So that's a bit annoying, so we'll have to fix that before I can move on to the lace section. And the colour this time, so in the last shawl, this pinky heathery colour is called Peony. I'm going to be using this colour as my secondary colour for the shawl. I think it'll be fun, be nice and autumnal. As you can see, like, I do like this colour. It's everywhere. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to getting onto the lace section. Every time I knit the lace section, it always seems like really addictive to me, and like I knit it really quickly. Yeah, so hopefully watch this space. There could be a pattern sometime in 2021. But yeah, I'll get there eventually. Pop this away. So I will show you the Rita socks, which are in my little Olla Nua bag. She's a weaver from County Fermanagh here in Northern Ireland. She has a studio in Belfast and she weaves these amazing, she sews a lot of her stuff. So she sewed these bags, she sews like cushion covers, and she weaves this all on her hand loom, which is pretty cool. So these are the Rita socks. It's a pattern by Danny of Little Bobbins. I started these so long ago. It's a lovely pattern. I try and pop on the sock blocker so you can see it. I started knitting these, aren't they so nice? I started knitting these so long ago. It's actually a bit of a disgrace, to be honest. However, my aim, now that I have finished the Whistlebare socks, my aim is to finish these. I knitted these in my natural sock, which is a non-superwash, no nylon sock yarn. It has the Eye of Partridge and Dutch Hill, and yeah, so let's chat a little bit about needles for sock knitting, because I've tried quite a few now. Not all of them I've liked. Overall, my favourite are the Knit Pro Symphony DPNs because they're wooden. I really like a wooden sock needle, but because I'm such a loose knitter, sometimes I can't get wooden needles small enough. These I like because they're not too bendy, but they have a little bit of flex. They're also blunt, and I'm a poker, so I have a pair of high highs. They're not even high sharps, and they puncture my finger constantly. I also have a little pair of clovers that I like, that are 2mm needles. They have a bit more flex than the Symphonies, but I like them as well. I tried the Knit Pro Cubics, did not like them. far too much flex. Yeah, they'd probably break if you just, I don't know, looked at them. So I didn't like them, but yeah, not my cup of tea. So if you want them and you like those needles, let me know. If you're happy to pay for postage, I will post them to you. But yeah, I like the Knit Pro Symphonies. I don't know why, I just find metal needles for socks sometimes a bit just hard in my hands, because I don't know why, but I just do. I like the wooden needles, but I like metal needles for garments, especially the chaigus are really nice. So I hope to have these finished before the next podcast episode in a few weeks. We'll just have to wait and see if that happens, because I am working on the shawl design obviously, and that takes a bit of brain space, but thankfully, because I'm doing this more digital minimalism thing on Instagram, I've kind of clawed back maybe an hour and a half a week, which is pretty amazing. The reason why I'm doing the digital minimalism Instagram thing is just to see if my business can cope without Instagram. I don't want to be fully reliant on it. I don't think that's a really good business model. And yeah, I was just finding there was other things that I wanted to do, and I knew that if I went on Instagram a little bit less, I would have better focus, A, to do those things, and B, have more time. Because I don't check the app. I was going on 4 times a week for between 40 minutes and an hour each time, and that's how long it took me to post to my grid, having pre-written the caption, post to my stories, answer all my DMs and all the comments. So it's quite a long process. So yeah, we'll see how this goes for a little while. But like I said before, you can join me over in my journal and on the newsletter, which I'll put links to down below. So that is all my whips for today. You'll remember in the last episode, I was talking about knitting 2 things, a hot water bottle cover and also a headband, which I have not started yet. I'm thinking I will finish the shawl and then maybe start the headband or the hot water bottle cover after I finish the shawl, just to give me a bit more brain space. And yeah, I've got a few pairs of socks to finish, so that's also something I need to do. So next thing I wanted to chat to you a little bit about is this book that I have been reading. Last time I read a little bit from the book, so I'm going to do the same again. There's a quite interesting bit in the book about the origin and development of Shetland lace. And I'm just going to read to you from chapter, I don't know what chapter, but it's page 77. And also quite a lot of you sent me comments saying that you tried to look up this book to see if you could buy it on Amazon. It was like $200. I would not pay $200 for this. I wouldn't pay, I don't know, I'd probably pay like £10 for it. Like, it's interesting, but it's not like that interesting. But yeah, if you can get it at the library, I'd say definitely get it out. So I'm just going to read you a little bit more from this origin and development of Shetland lace chapter. It's interesting that there may be a link with Russia. Jesse Saxby mentions having seen a Russian shawl exactly like Shetland lace in the Edinburgh Museum, and interestingly states, no doubt the work was known in England, but not in our eyes before 1832. A shawl offered for sale in a Moscow market in 1988, figure 5, which is this, is knitted in a very similar style and design to a Shetland lace shawl. The Russians also have the same tradition of passing the shawl through a wedding ring. I believe they also have the same tradition in Iran. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I heard someone talking about that. The origin of this type of knitting in Russia is thought to have come from Volga Dutch in the 18th century. And skipping on down, it says, in the complete book of traditional knitting patterns, Ray Compton refers to a beautiful lace shawl, exhibited in the Victoria and Albert Museum and knitted in the Shetland style, but which is attributed to Russian origin and is extremely similar to a shawl shown in Bishop Rutt's A History of Hand Knitting, knitted in vegetable fibre from the Azores. This similarity adds to the difficulty of trying to pinpoint the origin of a particular type of knitting, and the cases of duplication from different parts of the world shows the wary approach which must be taken when tracing the spread of knitting. So I think that's really interesting as well. Several references have already been made to the fact that Shetland knitters never wrote down their patterns. Their work was frequently referred to as growing under the hands. I love that phrase, it's really nice. Dr. Robert Cowie remarked that many of the peasant girls displayed great artistic talent in the invention and arrangement of patterns, which were formed out of their own heads, with the knitter often having no preconceived idea as to the stitch patterns to be used in the finished article. So yes, that's kind of how it goes on to talk about Shetland lace and its development. Inevitably, when meeting together, knitters would swap patterns. Not only did Shetland knitters use no pattern books, but they knitted with great speed. And I'm sure we've all seen Shetland knitters knitting extremely fast. We're not all Hazel Tyndalls, are we? But absolutely fascinating. There's probably more interesting bits in this book than others, but yeah, if you can get your hands on it for a low price or for free, it's probably worth looking at. Another book that I had got a while ago, but I haven't really started into yet, is this one by Horatio Clare, and it's called Running for the Hills, and it's about his life growing up on his mum's sheep farm. I had read another book by Horatio Clare called Light in the Darkness, which was a good book. It was similar to the one by Catherine May called Wintering. I think that was the author's name. So I quite enjoyed it, so I thought, well, I'll see what other books he's written, and he wrote this one here, which obviously appealed to me, being interested in sheep and knitting, and I'll just read out the little blurb here. Before Horatio Clare was born, his parents fell in love with the place, a remote sheep farm in Wales, physically and in every other way far from the lives they were forging as young professionals in London. The farm was high up a mountain, nearly impassable in winter. The neighbours were surly or perhaps unused to foreigners, but the setting was breathtaking and it soon changed Jenny and Robert's lives. So I got this book second hand, and yeah, so I'm guessing that him and his parents moved from London to Wales, which is quite a big move, I guess. And it's just about basically his life moving to this really rural place and what it was like, and I think that's him there. So I think it will be an interesting read. I haven't really started it yet, so I'll let you know about this one. So next thing, I think that's pretty much all the knitting-y type stuff. I'm going to show you briefly what's going to be in the a couple of things that will be in the shop update. I'm going to do a proper shop preview here on YouTube and on Instagram and in my newsletter and in my journal next week, but I'll just show you a little sneaky peek now. So first of all, we have my new limited edition yarn, which is 90% blue textile and 10% cheviot lamb's wool. The fibre is from Macro Honey, which is in the Glens of Antrim, which is here in Northern Ireland. It was spun in Wales and it is woolen spun. It's a 4-ply or finger and weight at 408 meters per 100 grams. I will have all this information linked below so you can check it out. A lot of people have asked me, could they knit these mittens in this yarn? You could, but you'd have to hold it double, which is actually what Albina did, I think, for one of her samples. She used my Jacobs and it's pretty much the same spec as this. And she held it double to knit a pair when she was designing the Backlog mittens. So yeah, you could buy this. I think you could get away with one skein if you held it double, but obviously it depends on what size you're knitting. It's really squishy. It has the most amazing blue tone. I don't know if you can tell really because there's nothing to compare it to, but it has the most amazing blue tone, and it would be an amazing jumper or sweater. I just think, yeah, it's an absolutely gorgeous yarn. So I took this photo just near the Ora Pass, which is just beside where Macro Honey is. So yeah, this will be in the shop update. I will also have 2 mini skein sets. These are all my natural sock base, which is my no nylon, non-superwash sock base. This one is the Anticipation of Spring sock set. And I was going for really pastel-y, yeah, pastel-y kind of look. And then I have this one here, it's the Bouquet mini skein set, which is a bit punchier and a bit more brighter, more vivid. They're both 120 grams, so that's, you get 6 colours and it's 480 meters in total. They would look cool together, I think, as well. Then obviously I'll have loads of full skeins of natural sock in loads of different colours, which I'm really happy to be restocking because it feels like it's been so long since my last shop update. It's been December, which is so crazy. It just, time flies, doesn't it? So the update for the Spotted Dutch and what these are knitted in, it will be launching sometime in March. And I'm gonna have loads of like new colours and stuff for that update. So it's gonna be a good one, I think. So I think that is pretty much everything that I have to show you today. I think so. I don't think there's anything else to tell you about. So before I go, I just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who commented last time and left me a weather report, which I absolutely loved reading. Loads of people were having snow. And it was just fascinating to hear where everyone was writing from. I thought it was really interesting. How many people found me last time as well. I don't know what was going on with the algorithm, but it just loved the last video for some reason. So yeah, how are you all doing? Tell me, what's your crack? We say that around here. I guess no one else will really know what that means unless you're from Northern Ireland, but we kind of say like, what's the crack? Kind of like what's happening? Like what's happening with you, or like what's the fun things that's happening. So if you've any crack, not the drug crack, like the CRAIC crack, I'll put it here, how you spell it. But yeah, tell me what's happening where you are. You all gave me a really comprehensive update on how COVID is where you are, and actually it was just announced here yesterday that we are now extending the lockdown until the 1st of April. So this will actually have been the longest lockdown out of all the lockdowns. So schools are basically still shut, although they are going back, like primary 1 to primary 3 I think are going back soon. However, schools are shut, shops are shut, cafes, restaurants, all shut. They've been shut since basically October. I think there was a 2-week reprieve in December just before Christmas, and it's been completely locked down since the 26th of December and then it will be until the 1st of April, and they might extend it again. So yeah, I feel like everyone else, like this last lockdown is kind of just like really monotonous and starting to like wear on me a little bit. I think everybody would say the same thing at this point. Obviously it's for a good reason, but that doesn't make it any easier. But we have our knitting, and yeah. We have knitting, we have food. Sure, that's all we need. So yeah, I'd be curious to hear if you have really extreme lockdowns again. I know some people in Australia said they had a really extreme lockdown, but now they're kind of almost out of it because it's quite, the numbers have gone way down. So yeah, so that's what's happening here. It's a bit sad to walk around the town and everything's shut, but hopefully this year things will get sorted a bit. Yeah, and if you want to know more about Rufus, I made a full video about him, so I'll put the link to that below as well, because I always get comments of people asking, is your dog a wolfhound? Is he a deerhound? What is he? So I'll put a link to that below. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode as much as the last one. And yeah, I hope to see you again, and hope you're well, and speak soon.